This is the new Pinball FX. We're here on Xbox Series X. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So what are we getting here? We're actually getting a couple different modes. So the first is a 4K resolution at 60 FPS. The second is a ray tracing mode that is 1080p at 60 FPS with ray traced reflections and ambient occlusion. We get HDR support, and we get a wide range of experiences to enjoy within this free-to-play take on the series. So, well, obviously, if you've been playing Pinball FX over the years, like I have, I actually went and looked. I guess it's been about 8 years that I've been covering Pinball FX, going all the way back to Pinball FX2 with the different DLC titles. We've seen Pinball FX3, we've seen that on multiple platforms, and now we have what I guess I would call a sort of rebooted take on, the series. So that's kind of interesting. With it being free to play, you get this initial table, which is the Wild Wild West. Something a little bit different if you're coming from, say, Pinball FX3. So yeah, definitely a different sort of offering in regards to the style and structuring of this particular game. Now you have to remember, when I play pinball, it's kind of just fun for me to knock things around. But the more professional pinball players will take things in a little bit of a different direction. They will kind of actually try to play the different goals, do the different types of challenges, and try to score as many points as they can doing the quote-unquote quests that are present within the game. So it really depends on the type of pinball player that you are and what you are trying to achieve when you are playing Pinball FX. So yeah, you could be casual, you can jump in, you can play, and you can just knock the ball around, or you can kind of be intensive about it and really go at it however you please. And I think that's kind of neat, is that it just offers a lot of stuff. It offers, kind of these animated figurines and characters, and then there's a wide range of different settings. When it comes to pinball in the virtual gaming kind of world, there's really nothing that really comes close to this, at least I don't think so. So yeah, we're going to go back to view 0. But let's go and let's switch to the main menu so we can talk about other elements of this game so that you can get an idea of everything in action and whatnot. So we're going to exit the table, and we're going to go back to the settings. I do notice that the menu seems to be a bit more kind of almost PC focused, which is interesting. So yeah, in the settings, there's an option for muting licensed music, which is awesome. But then you can go to video and you can switch between the two different modes. So we're going to confirm, and we're going to go to the quality mode, which is again 1080p 60 FPS with the ray tracing settings. There's different gameplay mechanics, crossplay elements, Williams Pinball choices that you can make because they got the Williams licensing, and some other language type things as well. Cool. So yeah, those are those settings. Now let's talk about how this works. So it's free to play, and like I said, you get the Wild West Zen Originals. Then there's different packages. So let's go to the shop. So in the shop, you can buy individual tables, and if you've owned tables in previous Pinball FX games, you have to restart your collection. I know it's a pain, this is all in Canadian, just in case you are wondering, but yeah, you can see that you can buy the individual packs. They've got the Williams licensing, they've got things like Star Wars, they've got Marvel, they've got some different miscellaneous things like, Gearbox, or there's Garfield. And this is going to get added to, and then the Universal Classics, and they're going to add and expand things over time. I thought I had the Marvel Pinball Collection installed. Alright, that's a bit weird. Maybe I have a different variation. It's a bit awkward. So there's another option too, aside from buying them outright. You can get these pinball coins, again all in Canadian, and you can use them to get things such as a pinball pass. So this will be like a subscription service that will allow you to play their tables over a set period of time, 30 days, 1 year. You get access to almost everything, but some tables aren't included right now. Marvel Pinball Collection 1 and the Indiana Jones The Pinball Adventure are not included. And then there's some other premium type things you can get. So I hope that kind of explains how the microtransaction elements sort of work in this one. Then there's other things in the game you can do, like there's collectibles to get, there's events, there's a tournament you can set up, and tournaments you can join. And then there's just kind of like the home where you just see like a splashy backdrop of just the selected table in action. But let's take a look at another table with, again, we're doing the ray tracing setting applied. Yeah, I do have the marble stuff installed. I don't know why it wasn't showing up in that area. Anyways, it's a little touchy on getting stuff, because it's like, basically you have to, I don't know how to describe it. You have to, like, go in the game in order to basically, like, prompt the download, and then you should quit the game because then it downloads faster on your console. So you can't, like, download it within the game. You gotta, like, it's weird. It shows up as, like, a trial pack through the subscription thing as, like, an extra download that you have to do. So, yeah, that's just something to mention. So, obviously, you know, a while ago, during Pinball FX3, they acquired the Williams license, which is, like, very classic pinball kind of, you know, pinball games. So what's neat about these ones is you can play it in, you know, sort of this original old school version of the game, literally as you're seeing right now. That's kind of what's being shown. Or you can also use the new version, which is like animated and adds all these special little extra touches. So that's for any of the Williams tables specifically, because they are a specific brand of pinball table that's actually real and exists, you know, as opposed to like the Pinball FX created tables. And that's something also I want to, and again, it's just the B button or platform equivalent to switch on the fly, which is pretty cool. But again, I want to mention that this is a very clean, easy to play, fun sort of thing. But they do a really good job on creating the tables, the sounds. They have usually some, you know, own custom little voiceovers, which are funny for some of the characters. And, you know, depending on the licensing, they get certain elements that are present within this, right? They get certain things that, you know, kind of are more authentic. Whatever the case is, they do a very good job on presenting a very clean, I think, aesthetic and design for their particular tables. I think he disappears. Yeah, he disappears if you go to the old retro mode. But that's what I'm really trying to get across, is that like the presentation and stuff is very smooth, very clean here, and it all seems to flow very well when it comes to the performance. Because there was always like this sort of random thing that would pop up where it would get a little like, I guess you would describe it as laggy, right where the paddles were, but that all seems to be very nicely cleaned up here. But you do get to enjoy, you know, just a huge selection of like tables when you go at it. Or there's a plethora of different options here for different tables that they've been collecting over the years. At the same time, it's kind of like there's definitely tables that I'm like used to seeing that aren't here, and that's a little kind of disappointing. But I think for the most part, they've gotten, you know, the stuff kind of going and brought back here, which is sort of nice. There's also a variety of different game modes. So you could do classic, arcade, hot seat, there's practice mode, there's like a flips challenge, ball challenges. You know, there's variations on what they're doing within this one, and I think that's kind of nice. But yeah, I do actually feel like this new iteration here has actually really cleaned up and enhanced the visual quality of the game and the tables. Like, they actually do look a lot more, I want to say the word is natural and realistic. Like, I thought, you know, kind of going from Pinball FX2 to Pinball FX3, I was like, wow, this is quite a visual upgrade. So coming from 3 to this new, I guess you would say, sort of rebooted take on the series, kind of a platform I'm assuming that they're going to build from going forward, I do think there's a lot more of a natural, sort of mature visual aesthetic that just looks a lot more sort of realistic, essentially, for the, you know, the sort of like materials and whatnot. It's still the same tables that you're probably used to if you've bought them in the past or played them in the past. And yes, it is very, very disappointing that if you know, had to buy one table, you'll have to like basically rebuy it at this point. But that is the nature of, I guess, licenses and stuff like that when they keep trying to, you know, do new advancements. You know, other companies, some of them make the licensing kind of work where you don't have to, and you can just kind of like, I guess you could say, you know, keep enjoying your licensing going into the future. But obviously, whatever the case is here, that's not really possible. So, I mean, the previous pinball still exists if you want to dive in and you want to play on your older stuff. And, you know, it is a shame that they couldn't keep some licenses going so that we could keep enjoying, you know, some of our chosen tables. But, you know, for what they have here, it's a large selection of tables. And I actually think the subscription concept is interesting, because it can kind of be like, you know, are you die hard? You want to play it a long time? You know, grab a year. You just want to play pinball for like a month and then, you know, come back like later on in the year and play a little bit of a month again. You can kind of go at it that way. So I think that makes sense. There's also that element of, hey, you know, you might want to actually own your tables long term. So that they still do give you that option, and they give you it in packs. And the packs are actually pretty good. Like I said, I've reviewed numerous pinball releases from them over the years. They do a good job on the design of their tables. They really do. Like, there's a lot of heart at play with these. I've certainly enjoyed taking a look at the different tables over the years, because I have literally played a lot of these tables. And, you know, while the series always kind of comes back, it is very interesting to see how it has evolved over, like I said, I literally started covering this stuff 8 years ago. I can't believe it's been that long, because I was kind of going back and looking at when I did my first review thing, and I think it was for The Walking Dead, the table, and then, you know, Pinball FX2, some tables that released for it, and then I covered Pinball FX3 from the start alongside a number of tables that they were doing, and then eventually they got the Williams license, and, you know, that's kind of what they've been going on from there. So, yeah, kind of a neat setup. I think this offers quite a lot for you to do and enjoy. I mean, it's pinball, right? So it's like, you know, what else do you really talk about on this sort of thing? It's pretty straightforward. I guess they've got more than 80 unique and visually enhanced favorites from Zen's extensive library. Oh no, we failed. So you get the original Zen creations, you get... I didn't want to restart, my bad. You get these, like, third-party things, you get these realistic tables. It's all sort of present here, and you can play it sort of easily however you want. You know, and I think that in itself is very well done. I think they've actually put together a pretty impressive collection. Like, I really do. I sit here, and I'm kind of like, you know, what else can they really do? It does seem like they focused a bit more on, like, you know, again, that maturity angle, more realism on stuff, you know, even in the game modes. Because, like, Pinball FX3, I think there was a lot more of a focus on, like, unlocking, like, power-ups through sort of, like, replaying levels. And, yeah, this one, a little bit more of an emphasis on just, like, different modes and different ways to tackle things. So, yeah, they've actually put together a pretty impressive library of tables, a pretty impressive selection of ways that you can play pinball. And, you know, you can go about it seriously if you'd like to. You know, like I said, I just come on here and I kind of just enjoy playing the pinball. I don't really get too intensive, but, you know, there's most people that play pinball properly, and I always see the comments and stuff like that about it, where people are like, oh, you know, you gotta go after this, and do this, and there's different missions, and different mission selections, and yeah, there definitely is. I'm just like, not too bothered by it. It's just kind of fun, take a look at the tables, see the artwork and everything. And as I said, I think they really do nail the aesthetics of, like, you know, capturing the different universes, making, like, a clean sort of presentation. The controls are very easy. You just literally on the console, you just use the triggers and you just go bop, 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 bop. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, you can also shake the table if you need to. But very rarely does shaking the table ever really pan out for me. Yeah. Oh, claptrap. There's also, like, a certain, like, multiplayer component for locally, up to 4. But it's sort of like, it's a little different than one might think, split screen wise and stuff, so just keep that in mind. But there is that local component still present within the game, where it's kind of set up so that you can play it locally with others. But I mean, it's pinball. It's probably mostly going to be a single player time for you if you're diving into this. I don't know, it's just neat that, like, Pinball FX is back, because it was, you know, it was busy for a long time. If that makes sense. Like, it was really busy when they were releasing regularly scheduled tables for Pinball FX3, which was fun, because, you know, every now and then, you know, like every other month or something like that, I'd have an excuse to jump back and play, because there'd be, like, a new pinball table for me to review and stuff. And then they got the Williams tables, and then after that it sort of quieted down. So it was kind of like, oh, what's going on? And I was assuming they were working on something new, and obviously that was the case there. Marvel's The Amazing Spider-Man. But I think it all actually turned out pretty good. And like I said, you know, you're going to have different sort of opinions and thoughts on stuff. But I think overall you can agree that the presentation is clean. It looks good. You know, it captures the different series, I think, pretty well. They have fun with it. You can have fun with it. They've got good, like, physics going on. And it simulates the magic of playing pinball. You know, I think that is the most important part at the end of the day, is you can sit here kind of just smacking the pins around, getting points, the pins. Oh, I guess we're bowling now. Anyways, doesn't matter. You get what I'm saying. It's just kind of like, you know, pulling off these things, enjoying the different tables. Because the tables are also always varied too, which I really love about this kind of stuff. And for me, that was always a big criteria of looking at these different pinball tables. It was like, you know, what is the aesthetics like, and what are the designs of the tables like? Because all the tables are different. You get tables where it's like a bit of, you know, there's a lot more going on them. And you get some tables where there's like, you know, it's very, very open, which is kind of nice. You know, and it depends on like the design of the actual table aesthetic. Some of them are a little bit longer. The more realistic tables, obviously the Williams ones, have a very, very different sort of thing going on. But I think you kind of get the context of what I'm saying, is like, they've all got a different kind of feeling to them, they've all got a different sort of style, and they all offer something different for you to enjoy, whether it's a bunch of like railings or a more open, you know, kind of centered area, where they've got more little baubles and things that everything can smack across, or they've got different animated characters, or different ways to score points, or different kind of challenges and stuff like that. So there's a lot you can have fun with in Pinball FX. I think they did a good job sort of, you know, re-enhancing an experience that has been enjoyed. They definitely have done a good work on improving like the visual texturing, the style of it, streamlining the entire setup. I think they kind of nailed this new iteration of it. And they give you different ways to go and enjoy the content too. And like I said, it's literally a free-to-play offering, right? So you can jump in, you can enjoy a table, you can get a feel for it, you can, you know, see if you like it, and then you can go from there and really sort of like tactfully pick, what do you want to play? What tables do you want? What do you want to own? And I guess with that, it would be like your cost is obviously going to vary based on your particular interest of different, you know, franchises, different IP. They certainly give you a good look at the different tables. You know, that was kind of the big part of my reviewing of doing the pinball tables back in the day. Was just being like, hey, here's how it looks, here are some of my thoughts on it. You know, is this table going to be for you? I think it's kind of cool. What kind of missions do you have? What kind of challenges do you have? That was always exciting. And I sit here and it's like, wow, another new era of pinball, which is kind of funny. It's just, it's been utterly fascinating kind of seeing this series evolve over the years. And I wonder where they're going to take it forward. I'm assuming with them doing the whole sort of thing that we're seeing with a lot of games, where it's like, we're rebooting and we're just naming it, you know, Pinball FX again, that it's kind of, this is going to be like the long-term sort of platform for them going forward. I think they've got an actual strong basis here, you know, when it comes to the map designs, the concepts of the tables, the environment that you're playing with. And I'm kind of, again, pretty hard-pressed to sort of, like, figure out something that I think would really add to the experience, because it's really, really quite straightforward. Where is... I'm trying to find... Oh, Attack from Mars? Oh, that one's kind of interesting. The Monster Bash. There we go. Because these William tables, absolutely classic tables. But anyways, I hope you kind of got context into how it's looking, how it's playing, and the full scope of this free-to-play Pinball FX experience. And yeah, I look forward to seeing how it evolves over time.